name's Lori, my nickname is Rini, and this is Rini Bobini Creations. I am doing the second part in our tutorial on the dragon boxes, so sorry about that. So this is our dragon box. In the first tutorial we started making the eye. We made the eye for the box, so please, if you haven't done so already, check that video out. And as always, leave a comment, subscribe, tell me if you liked it or not, give me any feedback on how I can improve, and we'll go ahead and incorporate this into our box this time. You will need some supplies to make it, obviously. We're going to need our Mod Podge. It doesn't matter what kind, whatever you like using. I know there's all kinds of Mod Podge out there, just whatever you have is great. We will need just plain old tissue paper, like from the wrapping section, whatever color you have. I happen to have black, but we're going to paint it when it's done anyway, so don't worry about the color. It just needs to be tissue paper. We are of course going to need our eye, the ones we made last time, so that's our eye. Hope you can see that well. We're also going to use, I've got these pearls, they're just cheap dollar store. I think I got them from the birthday party section actually, so real inexpensive those are. And then I did get these little half ones that come on a sticky sheet. I'm just using ones that I've had left over from other projects, so feel free to do that. I've got some other, you can buy this stuff on a roll. I have some silver bits left. This stuff works really good too, but as always, if you don't have those things but you have something that would work, please feel free to improvise and use what you have. I'm all about using that kind of stuff up. So also, of course, for our Mod Podge, we are going to need our water and our yucky paintbrush. You're going to need your glue gun and several glue sticks. This does take quite a bit of the glue from the glue gun. And then I've just got some paper towel and stuff for cleanup. I do like to protect my surface as well when I'm working. I just use whatever I have. I've got wax paper down, but if you have a craft area that you're not concerned about, that'll be fine too. So I'm going to go ahead and move the camera so you can see what I'm doing. Okay, so to get started, I did just leave this little corner so I can show you how I do the tissue paper. So I just crumple it up, and then I uncrumple it. So now it's got some creases and different things in there. Then I'm going to go ahead and Mod Podge it right on, but I'm not going to Mod Podge it smooth. I want it to have the crinkles in it, as it'll give a really neat effect later. So just Mod Podge it right on there. If you don't have Mod Podge, by the way, any kind of white glue, Elmer's school glue, whatever, mix it with a little bit of water and it will do the trick. I do like the Mod Podge and I go through a ton of it, but I have certainly done that and it works quite well as well. So yeah, as I mentioned earlier, especially if you're doing a plastic or a glass piece, you definitely want to do this first. If you are doing the book cover or a box like I'm doing, you can do this part at the end. I just find that it's kind of a nicer working surface and I get the coverage I want, but you can do it after, as we are going to end up layering some more on here anyway. Alright, so once that's done, we're going to start with our eye. Now you kind of need to have an image in your head of how you would like your piece to look, and place your eye there. Now you don't want it too close to an edge, because you're going to need that space to go around. So for this one, I'm actually going to go pretty close to the middle. So I'm going to just put some glue on there from my hot glue gun. And don't worry if it's not sticking really well, because by the end of it, it will be. So I'm just going to put that on. Now I like to turn it slightly on an angle rather than straight up and down. Now this is where you're going to end up using quite a bit of your glue gun. So now I'm going to go around the eye and give it like an eye shape. And I'm going to fill it in, I'm hoping you can see this okay, with the hot glue. Just like that. And don't worry if it's not perfect, because with all the bits and pieces we're doing on it, we can always add to it and we can make it perfect later. Again, just with our hot glue, giving it that shape of an eye. And you will go through some hot glue doing these projects. So do make sure you have enough of the sticks. right, so when that's done, as I'm sort of letting it dry up a bit here, I'm just gonna pick some of my things. Now I like to do one row that's not sticking out so much, so I will use that one, and then I will probably go with the bigger pearls behind it. It's going to look really funny when you first start it before we've put our tissue paper on, so just know that it's going to look strange. So because my glue's still wet, and if it's dried, just put another layer, it's fine. I'm just going to go ahead and put that guy on right there. Now that gives us sort of our first ridge. On the bottom, I'm going to do the same thing, but I'm going to use these bigger ones. You don't have to, just again, use what you have, but I'm going to use these bigger ones here along the bottom, because I don't do quite as much along the bottom as I do on the top. So I'm just going to put that in. And now we're just going to let it set up a moment. Now as it's doing that, oh dear, I've forgotten my scissors, one moment. We're just going to cut this to the size I'm wanting, and I want it to go a little bit longer than the first row, so I'm just going to snip it there. Again, don't worry about that, we will be able to fix any of those kinds of things up later. And now I'm just going to go ahead and glue it down. Now you don't need to worry if it's not going to say, I know the hot glue doesn't hold everything perfectly, but when we're done with our tissue paper, it's not going anywhere. So it's quite alright if it's not a perfect stick. I'm just going to fix that spot that I touched. Now I'm hoping I have enough of these little pearls to do one more row. Maybe not quite, huh? Oh yeah, I should have. So yeah, that will work just fine. So again, I'm just going to use the hot glue. Oh. I'm going to glue it down right beside it. What did I do?
Where's your speaker?
Alright, so we've got our 2 rows down. You'll see I've got a little spot here. That's okay, it won't matter when we're finished putting our bits and pieces on. So now that you've got all that on, we are going to go ahead with the tissue paper. So you're just going to take some and tear it to fit. It doesn't have to be a perfect fit, as you will see. Get our Mod Podge. Just put some on right all over the whole thing. Don't worry if you get it on your eye. A Q-tip and a little nail polish remover cleans everything right up. I always have to tidy them up when I'm done because you do kind of get glue everywhere. And we're just going to Mod Podge right over top of it. And again, now what I like to do is kind of, if you can see me, pounce my brush in so we get those ridges to really stand up. And you may need to do a couple of layers to get that, because the tissue paper is of course quite thin. So sometimes they will sort of poke through on your first one or two, but you're just going to layer till they're properly covered. And again, we are going to paint when we're done as well. So we're just going to pounce that on. Go that way. So it does look rather strange until we get the tissue paper on. And I am a huge supporter of, you know, if you see something and you think of a better way to do it or a different effect that you want, I think that's sort of what crafting is. You get inspiration from one project or somebody else's idea and you make it your own and you think of unique ways of using it. So if you think of something, please, if you've tried something, leave a picture, leave a comment. Let us know what worked for you. We'd love to hear from you and see what your take on it was. Sorry, I just had to find my tissue paper. It fell off the table there. So you can see it's starting to get those ridges and that dragon eye look. Again, just pounce in so you can see the ridges in the eye, and you can see how there's places like here that it's, you know, the tissue paper being wet with the glue hasn't covered, and that's okay because it does take a few layers to get that to really work. So just keep playing with it until you get it. You do want to make sure, even though we're going to paint, sometimes the paint doesn't adhere real well to the plastic of the pearls, so you do want to make sure you get at least one layer of coverage on there. I'm hoping you can really see the detail in this as it's coming out. There we go. I'm just going to do a little bit more here just to get in those corners so our glue from our glue gun isn't sticking out. And again, don't worry about getting glue on the eye. We can certainly will clean that up later for sure. It's very easy to clean that off. And here, the last bit here I think we'll do on this. Oh, I do see a couple of spots. Yeah, one last piece and that should do it, and then we're just going to let it dry before we go on to the next thing. So for next time we are going to work on the scaly skin around the eye. I thought it might be best if I tell you what we're going to need next time so you're prepared. So we're going to let that dry up. So that's what it's looking right now before we've painted and before we've highlighted and all the rest of it, which is super simple as well. So we're going to let that dry, and on the next, so the next part we're going to do is this part in here, the part that makes it look all scaly, like the dragon skin. And what you're going to need for that is, again, our Mod Podge. We'll need the Mod Podge, tissue paper, and eggshells. So next time you're having fried eggs or making eggs, keep the shells. I usually just give them a good rinsing off, and then I just crush them up, and that's I'll go over that part with you next time. Super simple to do and very effective. So thanks so much for watching this tutorial. Hopefully I'll have the next one up quite soon for you, and we'll carry on with our dragon box. Please again leave a like or a comment, and I would love it if you would subscribe, and we will see you soon. Thanks, bye for now.